Good evening. I'm Chris Daniels, I'm the director of Slapstick Festival, so this is a lovely individual event, but this is part of Slapstick Sunday, and we're delighted to have so many people in to see this special event with Lee Mack. People will have seen in their programmes or online that Jayde Adams was going to be doing the onstage discussion with Lee, but she has been in touch and she wanted people to know that she's making a film at the moment and she's got an early call tomorrow, so she's had to pull out of doing the chat with Lee.
You what?
Yeah. However, we've asked around. We asked around and we asked a few people, and in the end we did manage to find somebody. So would you please welcome to host this evening, it's Tim Vine.
Thank you so much, thank you. Thank you. Please, come on. Ladies and gentlemen, really, it's not about me. What an exciting evening we have ahead of us with a comedy legend, ladies and gentlemen, someone I've worked with many times in my career, and it's been an absolute pleasure. And he is going to tell us his favourite films. And more specifically, you imagine that he's on a desert island and he can only take 10 films with him. And he's going to say which 10 films that he'd watch, because that's what you do if you're on a desert island. Food and drink, not as important. But this guy's absolutely brilliant. He needs no introduction. It's the amazing Lee Mack!
Hello. Hello.
Lee, what a thrill to have you here.
Yeah, cut the showbiz bullshit. Now, I should point out to the audience that I'm ill, right?
Yes.
Unlike Jayde, I made it, but whatever. Very ill, so I may be coughing during this.
Yes.
And I don't want people to be worried.
No.
It's not what you're thinking. It's not a heavy cold. It's called something called COVID, which apparently is not very infectious. Right, I'm joking. It's not COVID, of course, because I actually tested positive for COVID yesterday, and the chances of it 2 days on the run.
Nonetheless, it's wonderful.
And he honestly said, "Keep away from me. I don't want your diseases." So that's why I didn't shake his hand.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's important that we don't pass on. As we know, the numbers are high at the moment.
Keep the atmosphere
COVID.
up, Tim.
Sorry.
Have you mentioned the Ukraine crisis? Really get you going?
Look, actually, do you know what? I won't.
No, you won't.
No.
Get on with the film script.
Right. Listen, as I say, this is a very specific thing. Is that Lee you've got to remember this. It's as though you're on a desert island.
Yeah, desert island.
Right.
Yeah. I don't really understand why. You could just say pick your 10 favourite comedy clips.
Yes.
I don't know why you're on a desert island unless you've got a massive extension lead. I don't know how that's going to work, but...
Exactly. No man is an island. That's what my friend said to me, and his name is Bob. Bob Ados. Come on. Right.
Jayde's definitely not free.
It's not sister.
I thought you were going to say no man is an island. What about the Isle of Man, which was one of my jokes.
Oh, right. Well, I was going to do my own. But listen, we want to know all about the films you like, because we know Lee Mack, and you've seen you do your work and make us all laugh loads. Right. But what we want to know is what makes you laugh, you see.
Well, I have to be honest and say that I used to watch loads of comedy films, and as the years have gone on, I watch less comedy films now.
Nice. You know what this event is, don't you?
Yeah. And so I decided, but way back when, I don't know, but my wife now, we can't watch anything unless it's like black and white and a Scandinavian kid's been kidnapped. It's all very miserable. It's got subtitles.
Right.
Because Busman's holiday, innit? You know, you're writing comedy all day, you want some bleak kidnapping in the evening. But so a lot of these films are from formative years. It's a bit like your favourite albums, isn't it? Your top 10 favourite albums aren't necessarily, they're not the 10 best albums, but they have some meaning to you as a person.
That's a lovely start.
Yeah.
So
that's what, I picked films that, let's be honest, I just picked the first 10 I can think of. I'm not getting paid.
So should we go to the first film straight away?
Let's do that, Tim. It's very professional, by the way, that.
Thank you. I thought
much more professional than Bob Ados. That was more, I like that. You showed another side to you, I like that. So, the first film I've picked...
I've got a sponge front door. Hey, don't knock it.
I've got a wooden front door. Please bash your head on it.
What's the first film?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because it's the only one I know, because we had a quick rehearsal. After that, I don't know what the order is.
Oh, I've got a list.
You got a list? Yes. All right, well done. He is filling in with about 15 minutes' notice.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But I haven't got a list, so I don't know the order. So the first film I have picked, I am a big fan of the actors in this. I'm going to do this and sort of little teasers so you work it out. Michael Caine's in this film.
Right.
And I like Michael Caine. He is very funny. He's very good in this film. He's not really a comedy actor. We don't know him as comedy, but he's brilliant in this film. But he's also starring an actor I think was a brilliant stand-up. Brilliant actor. Some people criticise him for not being funny anymore, but I think good for him. He's decided to be a musician now, I think. And it's Steve Martin. And this is a clip from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Try not to look at them off. Be engaged with the person you're interviewing.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
You never saw Parkinson do that, did you?
So the first film that Lee would watch on a desert island is Dirty...
Forget the desert island, it's not important. But, all right, the theme. The desert island, the first thing I would, not necessarily in this order, but yes, it's a clip from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Give me a cheer if you've seen the film.
Yay!
Give me a cheer if you haven't. Yay! It's 50-50.
Let's have a look.
Take a look.
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look at those legs, shall we? So, you are numb.
Can you stop it?
From the waist
Stop
down.
this. Pause the film. Pause the film. Turn the lights off.
Stop.
I've realised that half the audience haven't seen it. I've got to give it some context, haven't I? Otherwise it's not funny, is it?
Oh, I see. Well, I
It
did
just
wonder.
looks, if you haven't seen that film before, what you're about to see will just look like absolute cruelty. This is a film about two con men,
Right.
and they're both trying to compete with each other about who's the best con man to try and con this woman. And Steve Martin has decided he's going to pretend to be in a wheelchair, and Michael Caine is pretending as part of the con that he is an eminent German psychiatrist, that he thinks it's all in the mind of the patient, so they're both lying, but he's trying to sort of irritate Steve Martin with his lie. You get it? And there's a woman there watching, and she doesn't know any of this. Play the VT.
So you're a fan of Steve Martin, you
Love
say?
Steve Martin. He'll be cropping up again before the evening is over.
Right.
Yeah. Have you seen that film?
I have, but not for a while. It makes me want to watch it again. Actually.
Yeah. This is a good thing about doing this, because there's a lot of these films that I've picked tonight that I haven't seen for a long time, and I have watched them back, and there's been a few contentious missing ones as well. My son genuinely was outraged and phoned me on the way here to say, I still think you should put it in.
Which one?
Especially for the Slapstick Festival, is Jackass the movie. And it just feels like, I reckon the kind of people coming here are a real comedy crowd, and a lot of people would find Jackass a bit low rent, but I have to say, if you haven't watched the Jackass movies...
Do you have because there's 4 now, isn't there, of them?
There's 4 movies, there's loads of series, but it's the ultimate slapstick, because it's real. They really are, like...
I saw a clip from the last one, and it looks like he's killed by a bull.
Yeah, well, he's always hit by a bull. I mean, he's regularly hitting the nuts by a bull. That's like a running thing. But Jackass... And the other film, which is a lot more... we considered higher art and very much a comedian's film, and it's a film that I have never seen, and I should have done at the age of 50, by 53. Peter Sellers, who's one of my favourite actors, but I had never seen Dr. Strangelove.
Oh, yeah.
And so my son, who's 17 again, he said, you've got to watch this brilliant Dr. Strangelove, and I love Peter Sellers, so I watched it last night. And if you haven't seen it, it is tedious. And I know that's controversial to comedy fans, but Dr. Strangelove, I was really expecting big things, and I think it's an important film, but I don't think it's a funny film. Is that controversial?
Well, it's not on your list.
All right.
So-
Oh, we're not talking about all the ones I'm not going to watch.
No.
We could be here a long time, couldn't we? Oh, wait a minute. I thought I was bringing along 11 films that I would never want to see on a desert island.
No, well, we can change it to that.
Right, we're going to have to go. We'd have to start again. No,
Well,
but Dr. Strangelove, I thought I should include it because it's got status as a comedy film. But no. Anyway.
What about Shot in the Dark by Peter Sellers? That's a great one.
Yeah, well, I like all...
'Cause that's not on your list.
It's not on the list, and Pink Panther films were very much going to be on the list. So I've weirdly not included a Peter Sellers film, and I love Peter Sellers, but...
The Party.
Oh, I thought you meant the after-show party. Hurry up. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Anyone seen that film?
I mean,
Party?
we could be here all night if we could start. So there's a lot of omissions in this. You're going to be very angry. It's not. I don't know if it is the top 10, but it's things that really made me laugh.
Let's go then for the second film on your list.
Right now, this one is In Bruges. Have you seen In Bruges? Yeah. Which is a fantastically funny film, but it's more of a comedy drama. And Ralph Fiennes in this. He's not in this clip, but he's very funny, and he's another person who I've not seen doing comedy acting before, but was very funny in this. And yeah, it was worth another watch when I watched it the other day. And there is, in the clip that they've chosen, there is some. See the way I transferred the blame. This is what Jimmy Carr should have said. But in this clip, there's definitely language that we wouldn't use anymore, old-fashioned language, even in, it's only, 10 years old? I don't know, but it's, even now, God, things have moved on a lot. So there are things in it which, but again, it brings up the subject of should we be showing characters saying things if they are saying the wrong thing, if they are characters, and we want to know that they're saying the wrong things. But it's very funny. Have a watch of this.
Here we go.
Context. I keep forgetting the context. If you haven't, give us a cheer. Give us a cheer if you haven't seen the film. Yay. Give us a cheer if you have seen the film.
Hey.
No, that'll do. Most of you seen it. It's basically two men that are going to assassinate somebody, and they're taking a bit of time out, and they're off their faces with some strangers that they met. So it's two Irish guys with some strangers.
In Bruges.
In a brothel, I think, but they're certainly with ladies of the night. Yeah, well,
there you go.
I'm surprised you chose that one, Tim. But I did give him one go, so I suppose it's only fair.
Right, next up, The Crankies, your choice.
The Crankies.
I tell you what, though, your next choice
is
one of my favourite comedy films, and there's a few comedy films of yours on this list that I've not seen. This one, it was definitely one of my favourite comedy films. Do you know which one it is?
No, I don't.
John Candy's in it.
Oh yes, of course. And him again.
And him again.
They've shown him at 1 and 3. Not great formatting, but I'll let it go. Yes, this is Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Now, I've chosen this particular clip because swearing in comedy. Now, we have different, not opinions, but different styles.
Yes.
Yes. You don't like swearing on stage.
Well, I don't mind hearing it, but I don't want to do it.
Exactly. I swear like a cunt.
Perhaps I do mind hearing it.
And I often get told, I've been told by other comedians and me, they go, I saw your act, and I just think the swearing was unnecessary. I think it was unnecessary. As if everything we have to do in life is necessary. Because it would be a very boring life if everything we did was necessary. Because all we do is get up, go to the toilet, breathe a bit, go back to sleep, and maybe a bit of eating, wouldn't we? Because virtually everything, I mean, this isn't necessary, is it?
No.
Certainly when you're not getting paid, it's not, and you're feeling ill. And so I think that's, and if ever there was a clip to show where you say swearing is necessary in a clip, it's this one. And this summarises every frustration we've ever had with any human being on the planet. And give us a cheer if you haven't seen it. Yeah. Only a few of you. Basically, he's had a bad day. That's all you need to know. Play the clip. Steve Martin again. Wow.
Yeah.
I was worried that we were going to watch the whole film then.
Yes, it was
quite a long setup to that. I thought, just get to the...
John Candy's brilliant in that as well, isn't he?
Absolutely brilliant, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know why that was funny. But yeah, John Candy's very funny in this.
Yeah.
But most people have seen it, right? Unlike my next film.
Yes.
I would guess of all the films that I'm going to show tonight, that this is the film that gets the least cheer when I say who's seen it. Have I picked the right one?
I think you have.
Yes. It's not Star Wars next then?
No. Initials FB.
Yeah, I think not many people have seen this.
No, I haven't actually, funnily enough, and I don't know why not.
Why are you questioning that? Are you sure you're picking the right one? I've not seen this one. That's the point I'm making.
No, you said to me you're picking the right. That was your voice.
Oh, right. I put the doubt in your mind. Oh, I've missed you. So, this is a film starring, I think, a comedian who is quite very popular well loved in the country, but a little bit critically underrated, I would say.
As a comedian or an actor?
A bit of both. I don't think he did enough acting to... He wasn't in many films, but as a comedian, he's definitely probably, I'd say, the biggest, certainly by numbers, the biggest comic of the last 30 years. But he's very much... they're a bit snobby about him, I think, some of the broadsheets. And he's one of my favourite comics of all time, particularly for the Slapstick Festival, because he is a very visual, physically funny comic. And that is Lee Evans. And the film is, give us a cheer if you've seen this film, Funny Bones. Not many. Give us a cheer if you haven't seen it.
Hey!
Well, that is often the case, because it's one of my favourite films of all time, and not many people have seen it. And it's also brilliant because I don't think the clip we're showing has got it, but Jerry Lewis is in it, Oliver Platt's in it. Is it Oliver Platt? Is that his name? Yeah. And and it's basically...
What's it roughly about?
Well, the premise is that Jerry Lewis has 2 kids. A long-lost son that he doesn't... I don't think he's ever met, or he hasn't seen him since he was a little kid or whatever. And he goes and lives in Blackpool, and that's Lee Evans. And then another kid, Oliver Platt, who is trying to be like his dad, a famous comedian. And Jerry Lewis is a well-loved comedian in the film, as in real life, and his son is just not very good at comedy, whereas Lee Evans has just got natural funny bones. So they all end up in Blackpool searching for this kid. But this is the scene when they're still trying to work out the mental health of Lee Evans, because he's with a dysfunctional family, well, not even a family, but a dysfunctional group of people that work in a sort of circusy type, vaudeville type act. And this is the clip.
Funny Bones.
Don't do that again.
Brilliant, actually. That's brilliant.
It's also got, I think, probably my favourite line of any comedy film, or any film, where Jerry Lewis is walking along the beach with Oliver Platt. And Oliver Platt, he's got to finally tell his son that he's not a good comedian. And he's going to break his heart to tell his son this. But the fact that it's sat on Blackpool Pleasure on the beach also makes it more surreal and funny. But Jerry Lewis says to him, he says, look, you've got to realise, son, that there are only 2 types of comedians. There's one that, you know, says funny things. They're not funny people, but they just say funny things, right? I've got that the wrong way around, actually. So there's funny-boned comedians. It doesn't matter what they say, they are just naturally funny. They can say straight lines funny. They're just funny-boned. He says, but then there's the other type, the type that say funny words and funny jokes, but they're not funny people, just the jokes are funny. And he says, and it kills me to tell you this, son, but you're neither. It's so cutty, though, isn't it? It's a brilliant film, honestly. And there's also George Carl is in it, who's not George Carlin, who's another comic, but George Carl, who's a brilliant slapstick comedian, actually. I would highly recommend tonight, YouTube George Carl. He's only got 1 act, I think, but...
George Carl, how do you spell Carl?
I think it's C-A-R-L, maybe.
American or...
Does anybody know? C-A-R-L. Noel Britton's in. I think it was Noel that told me about it, actually. So George Carl he's a very much of the silent movie era. He was in a vaudeville act, and he's on TV in the 60s and 70s, but he does a silent act. Right. And it's just the best physical comedy you'll ever see.
Brilliant.
But yeah, Funny Bones, that would be my...
That's definitely on my list.
You'll have seen the rest of these films, probably, but...
No, actually, I'm not sure I've seen bits of the next one.
Give me a clue.
It's Michael Palin's in it.
Right, yes. This is a film starring an actor who Michael Palin, you've just heard that. I did wonder about you showing a Monty Python film, but Monty Python, I just missed them in terms of age. So when I was a kid, Monty Python was just disappearing. If I'd have known you'd have been hosting tonight, I'd have done it for you. But I missed that, and so I was much more of a fan of Fawlty Towers and films like Clockwise. Have you seen that? It's a great film. And this is a film with Michael Palin and John Cleese, and it's more, I think of these things like Fawlty Towers, like sort of accessible Monty Pythons. Because when I was a kid, even when I watched Monty Python, it just left me a bit cold. I've loved it as I've got older, but when I was younger. And also, let's face it, everyone's seen Life of Brian, which I was going to include. So instead, it's A Fish Called Wanda. Have we all seen? Give us a cheer if you've seen A Fish Called Wanda. A cheer if you haven't. You miserable sod. I love this film. And then the setup to this it's pretty self-explanatory. Michael Palin is being tortured for some information, and he's got a terrible stammer in the film. But have a look at the clip anyway.
A fish called Wanda.
Tim's been very professional when the clip was on, he said, "You'll have to be quicker on the next one. We're running out of time, so I've got to say it quicker." But this isn't helping.
This isn't helping you.
This isn't helping, sorry.
But that's brilliant. That scene, I've realised, has made me realise I also haven't seen that
You
film as
haven't
well.
seen A Fish Called Wanda?
I've seen bits of it, which is no good, I know, but I haven't. So Funny Bones and Fish Called Wanda, I'm going to line some of these up several days in a row. Now, your next film...
My next film...
...stars Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, and
yes.
It's a belter.
If I had to pick one human being that's the funniest person ever on film, it has to be Richard Pryor. He has got the funniest face of any comedian I've ever seen on a film. And so it was a choice between Stir Crazy, but it's not. Oh, controversial. Blazing Saddles, but Richard Pryor isn't in that. But he was going to be, apparently, originally. And instead, I went with See No Evil, Hear No Evil. Give me a cheer if you've seen that. Give me a cheer if you haven't seen that.
Hey.
Room Splitter. Very basic premise with this film. Again, in the current climate, would this film be made? I don't know, but it's about one man is deaf, one man is blind. And they come together, and this is the first time they sort of meet, well, properly. They talk at a distance. This is the first time they've met. Gene Wilder is deaf, Richard Pryor is blind. And this is the scene.
Here we go.
Marvellous.
They made a few films together, didn't they?
They did, and lots of stand-up films, well, stand-up specials that were brought out as movies, Richard Pryor's ones.
Yes.
But Gene Wilder as well, brilliant. He's a wonderful comedian.
He is. Now, talking of wonderful comedians...
Wasn't interesting, was it? Did you see that? Yes, he is. Now,
yes, wonderful comedians.
Wonderful comedians,
But
yes.
now we go to what could be described as absolute classic comedy, probably where comedy in film started.
I've no idea what the film is.
Well, guess. Who could I be talking about if you're talking about classic?
Oh, yes. So, well, we're talking black and white.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a lot of old classic movies I was considering, and obviously as a fan of comedy, and I do comedy, people like Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, I understand the importance of these people. But I'm not going to lie, when I watch them, I don't really laugh that much.
Buster Keaton, surely.
I do a bit more with Keaton than Chaplin, a bit more, but nowhere near as much as the what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Because nobody, I believe, even now, is funnier, perhaps Richard Pryor, than Stan Laurel. I think he's the funniest Brit. We'll say he's the funniest Brit, and he's the funniest American, because, of course, Stan Laurel was a Brit. So Laurel and Hardy. And I honestly, if I showed this clip that I'm about to show to anybody and they didn't laugh, it's awful of me to say, but I would judge them as a human being.
Right.
No pressure, but I would say a part of you is emotionally dead if you don't laugh at this. Now, I'll give you the setup to this. This is a film called Blotto, and the setup is that Laurel... you probably haven't... I won't give a cheer, because you probably don't know which one it is anyway, even if you have seen it. But the setup is that Stan has arranged to meet Ollie in the bar, and it's during the Prohibition. So I think it's during the Prohibition. But anyway, either way, they've stolen some booze from his wife to take to the bar so they can drink it under the table, because I think booze was illegal. But the wife gets wind of this, so the wife replaces the booze with cold tea and pepper and all sorts of stuff, but no alcohol. So it's not even alcoholic, but they don't know that, so they think they're really pissed, but they're not. And then the wife knows where they're going, so she gets a gun and she follows them and sits in the corner and watches them supposedly getting drunk. And this is one of my, probably the all-time funniest Laurel and Hardy clip, and if you don't laugh, I'll judge you. Always reminds me of our sort of double-act relationship in Not Going Out, that.
Yes.
Yeah, you're always fatter than me, weren't you? Oh, a lovely end to that little clip there, wasn't it?
Lovely.
Lovely, yeah. Thanks for filling in.
Now then.
No, I've not got time to talk about Laurel and Hardy, probably.
Yes,
have.
no. But presumably...
They were very good.
They were very good, but you must have liked a lot of their stuff then.
I loved it, and I'll tell you what, I was waiting for it to be a car crash, because I thought there's no way you can replicate that. Was when Steve Coogan did his film about Laurel and Hardy. Seen that? Yeah. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I was very jealous of his ability to impersonate Stan Laurel. And I think the Americans perhaps thought he didn't nail the American accent, but of course that's what Stan Laurel sounded like. Stan Laurel had a terrible American accent because Stan Laurel was from Ulverston, but then moved to America, so that's why his accent isn't quite right, because he couldn't really perfect it. Steve Coogan did a bang-on impression of him. Enough. Get on with the next clip.
Right, now the next one is probably, I think it's accepted as being one of the greatest Christmas films, actually.
Oh.
Certainly comedy films.
100%. Now, I'm married with 3 children. I'm married, not with 3 children. But their combined age is 32, so what's the problem? No, I'm married with...
Even 32 is a problem.
I'm married with 3 children, and to find a comedy film, any film that the whole family likes, is very difficult. That's why you end up enjoying shows like The Masked Singer, because it's one show where you find a show that you all quite like, and you watch it. But to find a comedy film that you're properly belly laughing at, and my daughter's 10, I'm 53, my wife's in her 90s, and to find one that will make everyone laugh, if that's true, that's ageism that you're laughing. And to find a film that we're all belly laughing at, and it is a really funny film. And I love films that are hilariously funny, but quite mainstream. Because, I don't know, there's something about anyone can make a few people laugh, but to make loads of people laugh, like this person does in this film, is amazing. And that film, of course, is Elf. You knew I was going to say that, didn't you? Give us a cheer if you haven't seen Elf. Oh, you really are a Scrooge, aren't you? I won't have it on in my house. We've only got a black and white telly. This is where you can go. Elf, ladies and gentlemen.
Elf.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I like the fact that you always keep us awkwardly hanging for a few seconds.
Now, before we...
Do you like Christmas, Tim?
I love Christmas. Do you like... I've briefly forgotten the name of the actor.
Will Ferrell.
Thank you. Do you like... He's made a lot of... Do you like Anchorman, for example?
Anchorman's brilliant as well.
Very good.
Yes. I haven't chosen that one.
No, but any other films of his you like?
Was he in any of the Charlie Chaplin films? No, I don't know much about Will Ferrell, I'll be honest with you. He was in that Sherlock Holmes film. I was going to say how terrible that was. Did you see it? Just remembered Rob Brydon was in it. Shut up, Lee. It was a brilliant film. He did a Sherlock Holmes film. He was generally seen as not very good. But Will Ferrell's brilliant, and may I say Rob Brydon's a brilliant actor as well. I keep forgetting they're not intimate gigs anymore. There's such a thing called Twitter.
I'll tell you there was another very, very good comedian who was in Elf. Who am I thinking of?
Oh, I don't fucking know. It's not a quiz. I mean, sorry, Tim. Let me think.
He's American.
American.
He's old.
He's old.
He's known for he had one of the best-selling comedy albums, definitely the best-selling comedy albums, one of the best-selling albums in the 60s. In the particular year, his comedy album sold more than Frank Sinatra.
Bob Newhart. Yes.
There we are.
Bob Newhart.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you.
Anyway, your next film.
Yes.
Your next film, now this is one of my favourites.
After the clip, you're going to say, now, do you know who the sound recordist was on that particular movie?
I'm not planning on it, but this next film is one of my favourites.
Okay.
And it's particularly one of my favourites because it's one of those films that has loads of jokes, probably more jokes than any other film.
Well, this is the thing. There are basically, when you're writing any sort of script, there are 2 things you've got to be careful of. The story and obviously the jokes. Forget about the characters, they're not important. But when it comes to writing, I mean, stories and jokes. And people are obsessed with story. It's so important. And this is a film where it's the complete opposite, and it really is just a load of jokes. And jokes, I think, have become quite unfashionable in the last 20, 30 years. If you were backstage with comedians, very rare would you hear one of them say, do you want to hear a joke? They go, no, you're all right. Because people don't tell jokes anymore. Even stand-up comedians don't really tell jokes.
I tell jokes.
You tell jokes. But you are the exception. There are very few people that just tell traditionally set-up punchline jokes. But this film is full of visual and written jokes.
Don't you think that it also, I know you say it doesn't have much of a story, but it does seem to, because if you watch Airplane 2...
I haven't said what it is yet.
Oh, sorry.
If he'd have got away with it if the emphasis would have been on Airplane. Have you ever seen the film Airplane 2? But he went Airplane 2,
Yeah.
as opposed to the one you're going to say.
Well, now that I've revealed it, let me just say this then. That Airplane 2, although there's lots of great bits in it, weirdly, it doesn't work as well as Airplane 1 because Airplane 1 does seem to have a bit of a story.
It has a bit of a story, a bit.
Yeah, but it's quite clever the way they can saturate it with jokes and still hang something on it in terms of a story.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying there's no story, but there's definitely, because it comes from, was Police Squad first? I think it was, wasn't it? Police Squad with Leslie Nielsen. Or was it Dennis Nielsen? Which one was the murderer? Which one was the actor? I know. One of them was funny, one of them was an awful human being. That's all I know. Let's call him now, just for now, Dennis. But in the Police Squad, which was a 70s sitcom,
Yes.
it was just gag, 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 and then these the Airplane films came about, and with Leslie Nielsen again. So they are very gag-driven, and that's what I like about it. Perfect for clips. Give us a cheer if you've not seen Airplane.
Oh, no,
Right.
that's interesting.
Well, the premise to this is that they're on an airplane.
Here it is, Airplane.
Awkward silence, shuffles on chair, puts hand on head.
Lights
go out, film start.
That's true. Now, my favourite of that type of film is actually, although I love Airplane, I actually put Top Secret as my favourite of that type of film.
Well, yeah, they're all...
Val Kilmer in it.
Yeah, they're all very... I mean, I think a lot of people would struggle with the... things have changed so much that I think they would struggle now to sit there for an hour and a half listening to jokes. Not you, I'm talking about the film.
No, but I know what you mean, yeah.
But you know what I mean? Gag after gag after... People have been so indoctrinated now with the idea that comedy has changed to something else, comedy drama, and I think comedy drama has taken over so much that... I mean, I remember going to see The Full Monty, which I liked, it was a good film, but the laughter in that theatre, I felt like getting up and shouting, you want to go to the Comedy Store if you want to be laughing this much, because it's just more genteel, isn't it? You know, it's a more gentle, and the story's so important, and I just...
You mean they were laughing a lot, you mean?
They were laughing, if I'm going to be honest, laughing more than I thought was justified for the film.
Right,
I like the film, it's good, I just don't think it's great as a comedy. I just think it's good as a comedy drama. And so there's very few shows, all films, particularly shows on TV as well, that the only point now is to make you laugh. Because they've changed the dynamic of what comedy is.
Well, when they
Rant
say
over, studio-based sitcom defended, next clip.
But it's true, sometimes they call something comedy drama, and because the word drama's in there, it's sort of, the comedy bit is harder to spot.
Yeah.
Now,
What shows are you thinking of?
I don't know. I don't know, actually, because I don't watch a lot of comedy dramas. Although if I do, sometimes I guess I don't
Well, they
even
used
know
to call
it's-
sitcoms things that were in studios with audiences, and now they call sitcoms what we used to call comedy dramas. And what they did for me, and The Office was one of my favourite sitcoms, but it's not really a sitcom, it's a comedy drama to me, because it's not a traditional sitcom. So I think what they did was they just changed they couldn't get studio...
Comedy?
Let me rant! They couldn't get studio sitcoms to work in Britain, so what they did was they changed it. They renamed it. They said, well, these things that are comedy dramas, we'll call them sitcoms now. And for me, it's a bit like if your oven isn't working and you can't get it to work, you've tried 10 years and you've had enough, you just rename the fridge the oven. And you go, great, the oven's working now. It's a good point, isn't it? You'll go away from me and go, did he say something about ovens and fridges?
I didn't fully understand that, but
Well, I sort of knew that halfway through, and that's why I decided to play it to the audience instead. Thought they
now
might
look,
be
the
following
next one is, again, this is a film I haven't seen. Can you explain, there was a
I
particular
doubt it,
reason
I don't know
why
what it is.
It begins with a B, it's one word.
Blotto, we've already shown that, Laurel and Hardy.
No, it's the one there.
I've got my reading glasses on.
It's to do with weddings.
Oh, well, this is interesting.
Yeah.
So, this film, for me, is a film that my good friend, no longer with us, Sean Locke, went on holiday with Sean a few years ago, and he said, Sean was always a very surprising person. He was very into the sort of arty-farty world of film, but every now and again he'd just throw you with something weird. Like when he joined me on holiday at this place I was staying, and he would always bring things like some new type of food or something. He'd go, try this, it's my new thing. And I was thinking, I wonder what Sean's going to bring. That's going to be great this time. And he brought the board game Family Fortunes. Right? It was brilliant. I know we're not here to promote Family Fortunes, the board game. And what I loved about it was right at the end, my son, for the star prize of winning the game, said, I think it's A or whatever, and I said it's B. And my son went with me, and we got it wrong. And my son, he was so young, started crying his eyes out. And everyone was shocked. And Sean looked at him and went, "Ah, you loser!" This is the same man, Sean. He was the funniest man, honestly. That on the phone particularly would tell you these stories, all true stories. I remember him once, he'd done a TV show and he'd fallen out with someone about something, the producer or something. And he said, oh, it was awful. He said, this new runner came. She's only like 18. She's all excited, first day in television. She had the headphones and a little mic like that. She went, hello, Sean, I am Emily, your new runner. She thought, this is just going to be wonderful. Everyone's wonderful in telly. She said, would you like a coffee? Sean said, yeah, I'd love a coffee, yeah, thanks. And then she said, he'd had a big row with this producer of mine. She said, oh, just so you know, the producer's not coming in today. She's got a rash. And Sean said, all right, good. Tell her I hope it spreads to her tits. And he said he could see the whole thing. Oh, television isn't a magical place, is it? And so when I was on holiday with Sean, a gang of lads went, and Sean said, right, we'll bring a film, or we'll watch a film, right? And he brought this film. Now, I'd never heard of this film. This is many years ago. And he brought this film, and it looked awful. By the front cover, I don't want to use the phrase, it's probably a bit sexist nowadays, but it looked like a chick flick. And it was one of my favourite comedies ever, and it always reminds me of being on holiday with Sean as well. But I'm sure everyone's seen it, Bridesmaids. Yeah. Give us a cheer if you haven't seen it.
Hooray!
You've not seen Bridesmaids? You hate female comedians, don't you? Use that on Twitter.
Let's watch it, shall we?
It's a brilliant film, Bridesmaids, brilliant. Awkward silence, looks to... My favourite scene from that film is too long to show. It's in the Jewellers, you know, when the young girl starts arguing with her at the counter. But if you put bridesmaid argument scene into YouTube, and the scene is 10 minutes long, and you have to watch the whole thing, so I didn't just want to show a bit of it. But it's full of language, sir, full of language.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Bad language.
Okay. Just arrived.
If you're here for the Barry Cryer tribute, you're very late. That was 3 shows ago.
Now
if
then...
you're here for the live Barry show, you're very, very late.
Now then.
I think Barry would have liked that gag.
That was, believe it or not, the 10th film, but you're allowed 11 films.
Look at you engaging with the format. I love it.
I've got it wrong, actually. I just realised I got it wrong.
Oh, right, OK.
That was 10
films. You not
films.
engaging with the format.
But I tell you what.
What?
If you could have...
When we were not going out, when Tim didn't know his lines, the hands came out.
That's true. Every scene I'm in, I'm like that. I just...
What is it? What is it you're not sure about? I've done 10, I'm allowed one more.
That's no one. I was going to say, you've had 10, but I tell you what, if you could choose just one to take on the desert island, what would it be? That's what we want to know, isn't it? Let's boil it down to one.
Well, it wouldn't be, I've saved it to the end, it's none of those.
It's not?
No.
Oh.
That's good.
That's clever.
You're very good at this. I mean, we talked about it backstage, but the way you're doing it's fantastic. It's like the first you've heard of it. Is it not? The way you describe it, it sounds like the first time you've heard about it. No, it's my all-time, if I had to pick one all-time favourite comedy film, and it's so hard, but again, I judge it with watching it with my kids now, and my 17-year-old loved this. So this is a film that, at the time of release, didn't do great, disappeared a little bit, came back, became a cult classic, and I'd say 2 of my favourite actors are in it. One of them I first saw in a show called The Monocle Mutineer, which was on BBC One, which was a very good drama about the First World War. He also played Doctor Who.
Right.
You're working it out, aren't you? And it's so funny, this film, and it's quite poignant as well, especially right at the end. But it's very quoted, this film, and most people now have seen it, certainly comedy fans. But if I had to pick one film, I could watch this many, many times.
One that I haven't seen, actually.
You have not seen this film?
Well,
Don't say the name of it.
No, I'm not going to, but to my shame, I started watching it.
And?
I...
maybe... Right. Not before the clip, Tim, after. You're supposed to big it up, like, oh, show it, and then be honest, not go, ladies, I'm going to introduce something that when I started watching, I couldn't get through the film. But this dickhead's taking it on a desert island, even though there's only going to be one film you can watch time and time again.
No, but this is what this is.
Glad you're not coming with me.
What you're underlining to me are films that I must see. This will be one, as will be Funny Bones, as will be A Fish Called Wanda.
Right.
And
Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids and Blotto.
Blotto. You haven't seen Blotto? Anyway.
Not for a while.
Right. So this film, of course, is Withnail and I. Give us a cheer if you've seen Withnail and I. Give us a cheer if you haven't seen Withnail and I. Wow, that's more than I thought. So this is my favourite comedy film. The basic premise of it is I think it's the late 60s, is it? Two student drama-y people going off to the Lake District, Richard E. Grant and Paul McGann, and they go off to the Lake District and try and have a bit of a break from life. They're absolute, particularly Richard E. Grant, alkies, quite a lot of drugs, and it's just reminds me that especially the Richard E. Grant character, who takes himself very seriously, reminds me of pretty much everyone I've ever met in showbiz. Apart from you, Tim. And so I think this might be a montage of some of the lines that those who've seen it will know off by heart, but these are my favourite bits of Withnail and I.
The one film he'd take to a desert island.
How's your mum?
Not bad. So there we are, 11 films.
Yes.
11 films.
11
There's
films.
a few.
How did we do for time, though? Did we time it right?
Well, I've not actually. I
it could be the next day now, could it? What time
sure
is it? Are we all right for time?
Well, we're not doing bad. I'll tell you what we could do, though.
What?
We could go. I think that we could open up the
door, run.
No. Open up the situation.
Open up the situation. I like it.
Q&As.
Yes. Let's open up the situation.
So, has anyone got anything they'd like? Oh, thank you. Right, okay.
All
Anyone want to put their hand up and say they'd like to ask a question for Mr. Lee Mack? Any hands in the air? Not all at once, please.
Someone at the most difficult place to get to, right up the back there.
If you can
walked all the way down the stairs, and the person at the back put their hand up. Up you go again. Oh, hang on. There's someone at the front, won't you?
I forgot what it is now.
Oh.
Any room for Spinal Tap?
Say again?
Any room for Spinal Tap?
Well, I did think about Spinal Tap. I just thought... I've probably watched it too many times now to take to a desert island. But yes, it's probably number 12. It would, if I'd have had longer, I'd have definitely had that in, but I just thought... And also, it's a style that has been too copied since, the mockumentary. And I'm a bit sick of seeing them now. Controversial.
Right. Okay.
Does that
Any
answer your
other
question,
questions?
sir?
There's someone over here.
Well, this bit's certainly taking the roof off now, isn't it?
There's a question over here.
Oh.
There's a woman over here.
Yes. Why am I pointing? You're
Question
in charge.
for Mr. Lee Mack.
Yes. Or Tim Vine. Either of us. Neither of us are getting paid, so it doesn't matter.
It's okay. So one that I watched a lot
Yeah?
through childhood and adulthood was Clue.
Clue's a good film. With Michael Caine.
No.
Oh, that's
Curry.
Sleuth.
Oh, Sleuth.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry, Clue.
Don't know it.
Serious?
No. Is it funny?
Clue though. Honestly.
Wow, did they use that as a
You've not
review?
seen it? Okay.
Maybe.
Actually, I'm surprised.
It's all right. It's all right. Well, I can't wait to get home. You're really selling it. It's all right. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Imagine if I'd have took that to the desert island, my one thing based on that. This is all right, I suppose.
What's your question?
I've only ever seen Clue. Are there any other films I can watch?
It was about Tim Curry, to be fair. It was just...
Ask me a question about Tim Curry.
Rated him as an actor, but if you
Yes.
haven't seen Clue, I can't believe you haven't seen it. It's based on the film, on the game Cluedo.
On the game
Is that
Cluedo?
what we- Okay, no.
No. I know Cluedo.
Okay, but
Yeah.
you've not seen the film. Okay,
I've not seen
that's
the film,
it.
no.
No, it was just
Yeah.
based on...
And to quote Tim Vine, what was the question?
Yeah, it was just... If you rate... It was...
Yes?
I disagree. No, it was just whether or not you rated him as an actor in that film.
Oh,
but if
do
you
I
haven't
rate
seen
Tim
him-
Curry as an actor?
In that film.
In that film?
Yeah, but you haven't.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen the film, but based on the reviews I've heard about, I'd probably go, Hope that helps. Anybody else want to ask me about a film I haven't seen? And that you're yourself indifferent about?
Hello, you two. Nice to see you.
Hello.
John Belushi.
John Belushi, yes.
Yeah,
I've
Blues
seen-
Brothers. Weren't there some fantastic classic
Yeah,
pieces in that?
I'm a bit like that with the Blues Brothers. I like it, but it didn't...
I haven't seen it.
Have you actually got a telly? I thought the Blues Brothers was good, and I love John Belushi, actually. I love that documentary about him. Did you see that?
I have,
On Sky, that's very good. But yeah, no, I would say I prefer John Belushi in Saturday Night Live than I do in the Blues Brothers. But I don't like musicals. No. I've never liked musicals. I don't, anytime...
You don't like musicals?
I know, I said it first. I don't like musicals. I just don't...
You don't like Grease?
Is that a musical?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Singing in the Rain?
I like that, that's not a musical. Is it a musical?
Yeah.
I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like musicals, but obviously if you go through all the musicals and I say no, it's going to get boring and repetitive. I don't tend to like musicals because I always think, why are they singing? Why can't they just talk?
But don't you like music?
I like music, yeah.
With a story?
I like music and I like stories, but I don't like music and stories together. For example, I like chips and I like women, but I don't like eating my chips off a woman. All right, bad example. Any other questions? Not sure why we're giving them the mic. I can hear them from here, but go on.
Okay, out of the 11 films that you have shown us
If you say which one would you take to a desert island, you haven't been listening.
No, which character would you most like to have played?
Oh, definitely Steve Martin swearing at that woman. Definitely.
Which one? Steve
Martin swearing at that woman. To be able to do that and just be able to get it all out. But I would, yeah, I feel like I could do that because I'm angry. But I couldn't, like, Withnail and I, even though that's my favourite, they're so good in that. It would be hard to get... And I have to say, I've been always surprised that they don't bring it back and do another one. Because I think they should do a play, Withnail and I, the play, set in 30 years later or something.
Right.
But they always say, you know, don't do a sequel, don't they? But I always wonder why, because just because something's not quite as good... I mean, if you came round to my house and we had a good laugh, I said, a lovely night tonight, do you want to come round? You wouldn't go, well, no, we'll never be able to top this, I'll never see you again. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wish you had, but it... You know, the first time you have sex is wonderful, but you can't say, well, I'll leave it at that, can you? I've done it twice since then. So, this idea that something's so great you shouldn't try and do it again if it's not quite as great, so what? All it has to be is better than what's around at the moment, not...
You know, there was talk of bringing back, because I was a big fan of it in the 70s, Starsky and Hutch. The two of them.
Now?
Again. Yeah.
He's not getting over that bonnet.
Well, it's different. It's them now, isn't it?
What's he going to do? Just walk round slowly and say, I forgot my keys?
You've suddenly changed your argument to the opposite of what you were just
That's
saying.
different. They've got to be able to play rough. They've got to be able to walk if they're coppers. Oh, not playing coppers.
Yeah, they're retired cops now.
So just two blokes sat in an old age pensioner's home.
No, they've still got the car.
Oh, but they keep looking out the window poignantly. Oh, if only.
No, they're probably
One of them's going, if only we could drive that, the other one's going, if we met. You know.
There's probably stuff happens and they probably have to deal with it.
Yeah, probably. What was your question? Yeah, I would say Steve Martin shouting at that woman. Because I get frustrated very easily. So give the mic back. Hurry up. Next question.
Any other questions?
Wipe that fucking grin off your face. See, I could do it, couldn't I?
Here we go.
Why didn't you include any Carry On?
Carry On's a good question. I was close, because Carry On I loved as a kid.
Carry On Screaming, my favourite.
Yeah, Carry On Screaming. Frying tonight.
Love Bernard Breslau.
With this cold, it is a bit more Bernard Breslau.
You need feet.
But the Carry On films they're fantastic, brilliant comedy actors. But the truth is, I did sit down before I did this and watched a couple of Carry On films, and they're actually quite a hard watch in their entirety, because I think things comedically have moved on a bit, but the characters were brilliant. I mean, let's face it, the writing was a bit basic, but the actual characters were brilliant, and the actors. So I did love Carry On. It was a close thing.
I love Peter.
But let's be honest, I didn't want to see Barbara Windsor going, bing, and then I get cancelled. So instead, I thought I'd put a dwarf in and some racism. So you keep your job, innit?
I like Peter Butterworth. I think he's underrated, Peter Butterworth.
Oh, yeah, the little farmer in Carry On.
Yeah.
The
And he was the sort of sidekick to Jim Dale in Carry On Screaming as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was, yeah. Carry On films are great. I should have included Carry. You've made me think now maybe I should have had Sid James in.
I think we've got time for 6 more questions.
So...
Just one of you, then we'll come to you.
Lee, have you written a film script? And if not, why not?
The first answer is yes, and the second answer is I refer you to my first answer. And actually, my first real answer is no, and my second real answer is mind your own business. No, it's not. It's because I'm lazy. No, I've had ideas for films, and actually we did think about making my sitcom not going out into a movie. We thought, no, that would never work. And then everyone else started doing it. You know, like Mrs. Brown's Boys, Da Movie. And there's been other movies of...
Mitchell and Webb did something, didn't they? What did they do?
They did
Magic
a thing called The Magic Thing,
Yeah.
which was not Peep Show or thing, but the same actors.
Right.
And back in the 70s, it was a big thing, Rising Damp, the movie, which is a very interesting movie if you watch that. It's 4 episodes, just glued together and redone. It's a very odd film, that.
Cannon and Ball.
Cannon and Ball, the movie, Boys in Blue, with Eric Sykes. And...
Morecambe and Wise, obviously.
They weren't very good, the Morecambe and Wise films, were they? They were never quite as good as Morecambe and Wise, who was my favourite double act ever. So I'm going to try and think of one, yeah. To be honest with you, it'd be nice to do any sort of work where I get some money. Have you got any film ideas, sir? Oh, you give them
Pass
my
the
back.
mic.
Sorry.
Now, this gentleman here had a question, I think, this chap here. You've got your own amplification. Amazing.
They're wiping the mic clean now.
There we go.
I think you're about 10 years older than me, roughly.
Wow, that's a confident.
But
Yeah,
I
think if I'm 10 years older than you, you're still too old to not wear socks, you weirdo. Yeah. Even 25-year-olds look a bit simple when they do that, so you can imagine what you look like. If a young lad wears them, they go, cool. If you wear it, you look like you've forgotten to put them on.
I'm going to say the tights, my feet got cold on the way here.
Right.
Loved all the films, would have
Thank you.
chosen very similar. Are the Americans funnier than us?
I think the American writers know how to... I've got a better system in place for writing, but I've always been... I'd be interested to watch that back and work out how many were Brits and how many were... About half and half, wasn't it?
Well, actually...
I'm counting Laurel and Hardy as Brits, because it was Stan Laurel did most of the work.
I think it was mainly American in that case, wasn't it?
Bridesmaids, American.
Airplane, Bridesmaids,
Airplane,
Elf. Blotto, okay.
No, we're not having Blotto, that's British.
No, I'm just saying, reading out everything.
Yeah, fascinating
See
stuff,
no
isn't it?
evil, hear no evil.
Oh, right, that's American.
Planes, Trains, Automobiles.
Yeah, the Americans
In Bruges, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
No, in Bruges, they're Irish, we're having them. That's 2.
Fish Called Wanda.
Fish Called Wanda, Brits, 5-3. With Nell and I, 5-4. We could get a good draw here, good penalties. What's
Funny Bones.
What?
Funny Bones.
5-all. What's the one we missed? Michael fucking Caine. but with Steve Martin, it's an American film. I'll have that as a draw. It's a draw. So about equal. Does that answer your question? No. Okay. It'd be great if you put your other foot out and it had a sock on it. Any more questions?
Any more questions at all for Lee Mack?
Yes. What time does the last bus go from Bristol? I can tell, I know those faces. Those faces say, yes. The question is, where's the toilet?
Sorry, there's someone over there, yes?
Who's your favourite former co-star on Not Going Out?
My favourite former co-star on Not Going Out? Miranda Hart. Katie Wicks. Simon Dutton. Megan Dodd. She played the girl in the first series. We didn't get on, and she's still higher up than Tim. Well, it's got to be Tim, of course. Tim Vine, who I've always tried to get him back. He won't come back because, he's mad. We're trying to get him back he did come back for the wedding, so we'll try and get him back for episodes soon. But he's got bigger things to do now, hasn't he? Makes his own movies now. He does.
Well, with my iPad.
You should show them here, they're good. Sorry, I've gone off topic a bit, haven't I? Gentleman there with his hand up. Who's Tim Vine? It's this guy here.
As we went slightly off film there...
Say again?
As you went slightly off films there...
He did, I didn't.
You come across a lot of actors and comedians on Would I Lie to You?
Yes.
Who do you think is your best guest?
Well, there's 2. It's always been Bob Mortimer, obviously. But the new one that I think is getting close now to someone I would have on every series, John Cooper Clarke.
Oh, yeah, great.
I love John Cooper Clarke.
Me too.
He's absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, probably John and Bob. But also, Miranda Hart was very good as well, so I've said a woman as well. Now, but Miranda's brilliant. She's been on loads of times, about 5 or 6 times. Yes, does that answer your question?
She's been on 5 or 6 times?
Yeah. I don't do the booking.
Any other questions for Lee Mack? Miranda Hart's agent.
Well,
Any other?
any more? Oh, right in the front.
Here we go.
Yeah.
What's your favourite, what's your least favourite popular comedy?
Bloody hell.
Least favourite popular comedy?
I know.
That's quite...
Well, I'm definitely not going to say one of yours because your stuff isn't popular. I would say...
Least favourite popular comedy?
Well, you tell us some popular comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
And go by the eyebrows.
Mrs. Brown's Boys.
I like Mrs. Brown's Boys, and I think it gets a lot of criticism unnecessary. I think there's a lot of British snobbery going on, and I think what happens is the broadsheets don't like the working classes laughing. It's my opinion on that subject. Put that on your Twittergram. Any others that you... Do you not like Mrs. Brown's Boys?
No.
No?
Not at all.
Do you not like the working classes either? As he fucking doesn't. You pigging hate me. No. Yeah, so anything slightly less controversial.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's you again. Oh, there's another film another film I wasn't quite sure about in 1983 that, to be quite honest, I didn't make to the end, but you could perhaps try watching that.
Any questions from anyone who hasn't
Yes, she's
asked
got a
question
question.
yet? Oh, sorry.
She's got another question. Favourite Morecambe and Wise sketch? I like the flat scenes, all the flat scenes where they're in bed together. So they're not really much sketches as little individual things they used to do in that. Again, guess what I wasn't as keen on that other people were? The musical stuff.
You didn't like the Andre Previn thing, for example?
No, I love that.
I was going to say that.
No, but that wasn't musical stuff. That was about music. That was verbal.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, but that... Yeah.
They didn't suddenly break into a song, did they?
I think most people would say that's true. Same with...
Oh, that's most people are wrong.
No, I think... No, I'm agreeing with you. Most people would say that their favourite stuff isn't musical. It's the same with the two Ronnies. I don't know anyone who said their favourite thing is when the two Ronnies sing together.
Yeah, yeah. No,
it's all right, but it's
I
not
like
the best.
jokes and verbal written stuff, you know. Singing's for idiots. I mean, that Adele, right? She's not funny in her songs, is she?
Not especially.
Fucking hell, I wouldn't want to be her ex-boyfriend. Bloody hell. I reckon in the middle of her album she should do like a Black Lace song just to pick it up a bit. Get it up again and then bang down.
Yes, question,
comedy
please.
films.
Hello.
Hello.
One
Hang
of
on,
my
we've got two
favourite
mics
films.
in circulation, or a man with two voices.
Hi, Lee. You've been on quite a few different programmes, sort of Mock the Week.
I've never been on Mock the Week, but have another go. I genuinely haven't been on Mock the Week.
Somebody else.
Well, thanks for reading out my CV. So, films that you're not that bothered about and programmes I haven't been in.
All right, I got the wrong one.
Have another go. Mock the Week. Go on.
This is a question for Tim, really.
Crime Watch. Yeah.
I've not
A question for Tim.
I've not been on.
You've just realised you can't remember anything I've been in. Lee, you've been in a lot of shows. Mock the Week. Question for Tim.
Would I lie to you?
He's not been on that. Well done.
No. How come, Tim, you haven't been on anything like that?
Like what? Mock the Week.
So would I lie to you, Mock the Week, that I haven't been on? How come you haven't been on programmes like that I haven't been on one of them? You lot been in here all day. Is this your third show?
I'll tell you why I haven't been on Mock the Week, because I don't think I'd be very good at it. So I was once asked to go on that, and I was... That thing of lots of comics all jumping for the same gaps, it scares me a bit. That's 7 comics all going for the same gap. He happens to be very good at it. I'm just not my sort of... Whereas when I lie to you, you have your moment to talk, don't you? So something like that, I would be up for.
I don't do the booking. I don't do the bookings.
I happen to look to my... I'm just saying.
I don't do the bookings.
But it's like Call My Bluff or those types of similar show. Well, same show, isn't it? But it's... It's like, no, it's not the same.
Never saw Call My Bluff, don't know what it is.
But those shows where, or even something like a countdown type thing, or anything where they come to you for your moment, I feel a bit more, that's...
Right, just a quick thing for you two, right? It's about me, this show. Carry on.
Why haven't you done Mock the Week?
Because I can't be bothered and I'm too old. And I don't like having to read the papers that week. And I just think, you get spoiled on Would I Lie to You. You turn up at 6 o'clock, say, I once, I don't know, had sex with a camel. No, I didn't. I'll see you next week. And it's, you know, saves doing any work. I mean, you get some of these idiot comedians, they'll drive to the West Country for fuck all on a Sunday night. On Mother's Day.
Well, in that case, thank you.
You're very welcome. Have you been on Mock the Week?
No,
No, me neither.
Too old.
Well,
I think we can have one more question.
Yes, one more. They all want it now, don't they?
My question is, what do you think of remaking films into comedy films? Because one of my favourite ever comedy films is Gene Wilder in Young Frankenstein with Marty Feldman.
So, yes, but that was a comedy film.
But that came from the...
from Frankenstein.
Old Son of Frankenstein was the original black and white film.
Yeah, I mean, that's a brilliant film, that. In fact, now you've just said it, I think, why don't I include Young Frankenstein? I mean, that's the funniest. That, I tell a lie, I do like musicals. Putting on the Ritz. Putting on the Ritz in Young Frankenstein is one of the funniest songs. I love musicals, you've changed my mind. Who's seen Young Frankenstein? Yeah. Well, if you haven't, type in Putting on the Ritz, Young Frankenstein, you'll laugh a lot.
Can we just literally one more? This lady here put her hand up and it'd be nice.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The microphone is coming, madam.
You've done...
If you say Mock the Week, you'll be in trouble.
You've gone through and said the films that you take with you, but... And I know we've kind of ditched the deserted island theme. So if you could have one character from a comedy, what character would you have on that island with you, watching the movies?
I would have Tom Hanks from Castaway, because... give yourself an outside chance. Yeah. So, no, who would I have? Of the films I've showed tonight, I would probably... all of them have got something wrong with them. So, like, Richard E. Grant in that film is brilliant. I wouldn't want him anywhere near me on an island, obviously. So, who would I have? Who was the most...
Elf, maybe.
Oh, no, he'd get on my tits if he was acting like that every 5 minutes. It could be from someone who's not in a film, in any of those films. Because I was struggling there with the 11 films I had choice with, but you now, with 1 minute to go, you want me to throw it into any film that's ever been. Not making it easier, though, are you? Making it harder. Because you're saying, do you want tea or coffee? And I'm going, I'm not sure, I can't make my mind up. You're going, all right, well, let me list every drink that's ever been made. So, of the films, I'd say Lee Evans in Funny Bones.
Someone with a boat would be good, wouldn't it? Because
I've just done that joke with Tom Hanks.
He didn't have a boat.
He made a boat. It's the same principle.
He had a terrible time. He was stuck there for absolutely...
But he got off the island was the point. He does not listen to a word I say.
I do. But I thought the joke was that he just knows a bit about the island.
No, he got off the island.
Well, it took him a long time, didn't it? And
Well, he obviously got off the island, otherwise how would we have known about this documentary?
But he was on there for over a year. He was stranded on there. He tried every which way. And one time he went up as far as the rocks and came back again. It was hopeless.
You've been a lovely audience, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming along. And can we thank my guest tonight, Mr. Tim Vine.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, keep that applause going. Oh, you've stopped. Let's hear it for the star of the show, Lee Mack.
Thank you very much.